returning. A couple of quick points. I have to chuckle here because I remember back when we first started gathering like this, how difficult it was to move the energy. There was so much resistance and there was so difficult. And now we can flow this energy so very, very quickly. Truly, you're becoming masters of energy. I want to go through a quick checklist with each one of you. Your checklist. It's happening right now. The greatest changes ever on earth. Not the end of times, but the beginning of times. Changes are difficult. So I want to go through a checklist with each one of you. I asked you, have you considered this lately? So let's run through it. First of all, physical. Are you nurturing your body on a regular basis? Your body is receiving I would say, the lowest wavelength, the lowest level consciousness energies, and it's feeling it. You're feeling it in your bones, your skin, you're feeling it in your digestive system. Many of you have had things physical appear in this last few months of time, and you're wondering what that's all about. Because the physical is absorbing the energies of change of the world around you. It's not about you, it's not yours. But the body takes it in, it stores it, until you, as the master of your own temple, say, I don't need that anymore. You can release it through breathing. You can release it through light, non-abusive exercise. And I underline that because in the past, some of you had to abuse yourself during this physical exercise time, and it's not what your body is asking for. Light exercise, good, healthy energy movement and flow that gets you breathing. Drinking liquids, especially important right now for your body. It helps to flush out so many of those energies. In a way, you're like a magnet. You pull, bring in these energies, and then they go resident in your body, but they don't need to be. So the breathing and nurturing of your body. What is nurturing? Getting a massage. It's good. It's not just about the massage. It's about doing something for yourself. Eating what you truly like. One of the biggest causes of your problem or your body aching and having pains is because you get into these odd diet things and you don't really like them. Your body doesn't like them. Why are you doing it? Give your body something it likes. Stop worrying about overindulging or any other of those strange things that you had before. Your body knows how to clear itself if you let it. So nurture your body. Feed it something that you like and that it likes. Being in the water with your body, in a bath, or ocean or a lake, a body of water, particularly if you can add the salt or if the salt is already there. Natural salt helps to detoxify. These are not your toxins, so don't own them. Don't keep them. Don't feed them. You're just picking them up from the world around you, and it's going to intensify because of all the changes on earth. So make sure in your checklist, are you nurturing your physical body? Stop disliking it. Stop wishing that it would look like something else. Nurture it. Accept it for exactly what it is. I know some of you are going to go have that food that you've been wanting for a long time. You're going to run out tonight. Tobias gave me permission. Absolutely. Your body knows how to handle queso and chips. I caught one of you. It knows how to handle hot fudge sundae. It truly does. And it will tell you when it's had enough. You buy into all of this medical stuff. And I have to say, I'll be a little bit candid here. I would say, I'm looking for a number from Saint Germain. He loves numbers. I would say 83% of everything that is told you about the body, from cholesterol and plaque and heart and fat and all the rest of these things is designed to sell you a product. Is there ever a product not attached to it? Even if the product is just joining some organization or buying into a lifestyle, it's your body. It knows how to handle that mud pie you were thinking about. It knows how to handle whatever. Nurture your body. You're going to need it. Absolutely, you're going to need it. And I'm going to jump to the next subject in your checklist because it's very closely related. Abundance. You are going to need abundance in these next few years. You're going to need it. You're going to want it. It's going to get tough out there at times. It's going to be a world of change. The abundance is going to be like a feather pillow for you. Why sleep with your head upon a rock when you can have it on a feather pillow? If you still have issues with vows from past lifetimes, if you still resent anybody who has money and you don't, get over it starting now. We're done talking about it. We're done. Saint Germain obviously has come in. He's saying I'm being rather wimpish with you about it. Shambra, accept abundance in your life in every way. Money, friends, resources, tools, psychic abilities, health, love, everything. You're going to need it. It's going to be difficult at times out there. There's going to be humans that are going crazy, that are doing wild and berserk things. There's going to be fear energy sliming around like a snake along the ground, and it's going to be trying to attract and entice you. Don't buy into it. It's not yours. The abundance is going to help balance things. Nothing else. Not about getting rich. If I could state anything for your checklist, it's all about balance. You're out of balance, many of you, with abundance. You say, but I don't know how to create abundance. Well, then you don't. How about saying, I accept abundance, period, let it go. Don't think about it again. But mean it when you say it. Stop worrying about the literal things. The abundance will come to you in the strangest, oddest, and best ways. If you try to plot it and plan it and go through all that, those gyrations, you're going to miss out. Abundance can be part of your life. Just accept it. Period. Don't put in any if, ands, buts, or I don't know how to do's, or anything like that. You're going to need it. Let's go to the next point on the checklist. Mental balance, big one. Mental balance. Whereas some of the lower vibrational energies of change are going to affect your body, there are some very highly tuned energies of change and consciousness that are affecting your mind. Your mind has an interesting old energy way of accepting it and of challenging you. You're picking up on energies in China right now, energies in India, energies in places around the world that are filled with hunger and poverty. You're picking up on them like a radio would pick up on radio waves coming around. But you do a funny thing. You take it as your own. You put your own brand or your own imprint on it, and you play with it in your mind. There's something that was designed in the mind a long time ago, programmed in to do that. But let it go now. Let it go. You're going to get a constant bombarding of outside energies. And the mind is going to pick up on some of them. The body picks up on others. Let them go. Let them pass right through. It is almost a selfish, self-centered game that humans play and that Shambra plays and pretends that the energy is yours. Pretends that you have to do something with it. You take it in and you drive yourself crazy. In your mind, let go of it. Oh, you feel guilty sometimes about letting go. You think you should be more responsible and battle these energies. Don't. You're just feeling what's going on in the world around you. You're here to do some very specific work, and by your choice, and it's happening right now. If you get caught up in the mental dilemma and imbalance, it's going to make it very, very difficult. So what do? Take a deep breath. The only things that belong to you are what you choose. If you feel this constant dialogue, constant chatter, constant imbalance, ask yourself, why am I hanging on to that? Some of you have had issues with depression. They're not yours. Part of you loves playing with it. It gives you a toy. Go out and buy something, one of those things you squeeze in your hands instead. One of those nervous energy balls. Buy David McMaster's new game that he's going to be developing to keep yourself occupied. Sometimes you bring this stuff into your mind just to keep yourself busy. You play like an emotional and a mental type of crossword puzzles, but these are very complex. They're not yours. Your mind likes to do mental things. Mental things could be building something, working on the computer, reading a book, these type of things. Allow it to do it once in a while, but don't use your mind as a place anymore of dumping the energies of feelings and emotions and changes. Clear your mind of that. Let's go along the checklist even more here. There is going to be a factor here, a time warp factor that you're going to be going through. Don't let it throw you off. I don't want to get into the long physics of it, and neither do you want me to. But you looked at time as linear. It's not. It has the illusion of being linear. But this illusion is changing quite a bit right now. And you're going to feel at times, no pun intended, that things are going crazy from a time perspective. You use time to ground yourself in this reality. But because it's changing, you're going to feel very ungrounded. You use time as your anchor. So I'm going to ask you on your checklist to let go of that anchor. Your anchor doesn't need to be time, and if you try to hang on to it, it will be very, very difficult. You're going to feel uncomfortable all the time. No pun. The anchor, and perhaps not even a good word, but the foundation, is the now moment. The now moment is irregardless of any time, any clock, any watch, anything else. You can replace time with now. That will make things tremendously, tremendously more balanced for you. Next on the checklist, creativity. Creativity is so very important, and some of you cringe when I say that because you don't think you're creative. Let that go. It is important for a creator to be creative. It's a natural state. It's very important right now for you to do something creative, whatever that is. It doesn't mean you have to write a bestseller book or produce a YouTube video or anything like that. What's creative for you? When you allow yourself a creative endeavor, it gets a different type of energy going within you. It keeps the mind in balance, you see, because when you're not actively being creative, that's when the mind tends to get imbalanced. Do creative things. Build something, write something, paint something, sing something. Do whatever it is, but it's very, very important right now in your checklist to have regular creative endeavors. Do them for yourself, not for other people, but for you. Create something that moves and expands a very important energy right now. I'll put out one creative challenge to the Shambro with a musical inclination. I would love to see. I'm talking with Cauldre here, and of course, he doesn't like it when I talk to him like this, but I'd love to see Shambra, somebody or somebody's write the returning song. The returning song. A beautiful song about returning to yourself, about returning home. That'd be a Shambra song. I would love to have Shambra from all around the world submit their returning songs and to play it on my last day, July 19th. Yes, have Shambhala collectively, select the one. I'd love to have it played. So be creative. Do something. Next on the checklist is, this is a bit of a paradox. There are some of you who busy yourself and distract yourself by working too hard. You work and work and work and work, and it's just an excuse for running from who you are. There's a time for work, and there's a time to live. There is a time for doing these mundane human things that you have. And there's a time for just living. Now, the true master combines both. It's no longer work, it's no longer distraction, but it's a constant, triumphant discovery, no matter what you're doing. I've seen so many of you burying yourself in work. You're just distracting, you're just running. You, you beat on your chest, you tell everybody about how hard you work. You don't fool me or Saint Germain. We know what you're doing. You become righteous about it. Now, take time for you. Take time, set aside time for play. Do something you haven't done, you've been wanting to do. Just do it and stop using work as an excuse to avoid living. The other half of you, quite the opposite. You're lazy. That's why I said this is a paradox. You're sitting in your lazy boys for those outside of North America. That's that ugly, comfortable, reclining chair. You're sitting in your lazy boys, and you're frustrated with yourself. You get so very lazy. You think about doing things, but you just can't get out of that easy chair. When you do that, you get into your mind, you get very philosophical, and you tend to be critical of other people, because by shooting out criticism at them, at their accomplishments, it justifies you sitting in a big fat chair and not doing anything. So you shoot your emotional bullets at them, but what you're really doing is you're afraid to do it yourself. Get out there and do something. Get out of that chair, or we're going to have to help break down that chair. We'll unloosen the screws and do a few other things. This is the time. It's not 5 years from now. Now is the time. It's happening right now. And you're not going to be able to appreciate it from that big ugly chair. Do something. Stop complaining about things. Stop criticizing others. Get out there and do something. That gets the energies moving. That gets you out of your mind. That gets you living once again. Next on the checklist, big picture. Always, always right now. Always stand back. Look at the big picture. Take the big picture behind the short wall. What is happening? Take a deep breath and look at the big picture. What is happening? It's often easy to get caught in minutia and details and fears. What's happening in the world right now? What's happening with energy? It's so easy. You get in the head and you make it complex, but what's happening? It's literal. You're moving out of old energy, fossil fuel, you're moving into new. What's happening in politics? The big picture. The world is changing. It's no longer isolation. It's no longer about a few countries dominating the power. It's about letting the power go. It's about creating heaven on earth. But getting there sometimes feels like hell. Always look at the big picture, particularly when you feel drama strike, when it comes in and grabs you, when you wonder what is happening with the world, is it falling apart? Big picture time. And I'm going to encourage Shambhala through your technology to share the big picture with each other. Get on the internet with your forums and all these other tools that you have at your disposal. Share your vision of the big picture, why something is happening. Always keep it simple. Always keep it without agenda. Always keep it without blame. It's an incredible time to be living on earth. It's an incredible time to be here by choice. Many humans that aren't necessarily here by conscious choice, they found themselves back here. They found themselves suddenly back in physical body. That's not your case. You chose to be here. You raised your hand, you stepped forward, you said, I want to be here on earth at this time of change. I want to inspire consciousness. Next on the checklist and last for right now. Are you being a teacher? Doesn't mean standing in front of a class. Doesn't mean having to write a book. Certainly doesn't mean evangelizing. But are you a standard and an example to other humans? It's the one thing you said that you wanted to do above all, to come back to earth at this time of change, to be an example, a standard. You can do it every moment of every day by being in your body, by living your truth, by loving yourself. That is a teacher. Whether they call you up on stage to talk, whether you create a blog on the internet, whether you just carry that standard energy with you when you go to the store, when you're dealing with your families, this is why you came here. Not to get caught in drama, not to waste a lifetime, not to get stuck in your head. You came here as teachers, inspirers, and now is the time. It's not 5 years or 4 years or 3 years from now. It's happening right now. You're really going to see the examples this next month, and so it is.